Hello, it's Thursday, the 6th of November at just gone midday UK time, and this is the Love Movement usually weekly connection. So remember, love is liberation, opportunity, vitality, empowerment, and that's why we're together. So the way it records with me recording, even though I've got it on gallery so I can see everyone, it doesn't record everyone. It just records the person that's speaking. So if anyone needs a thumbs up or something from me, that's all I'll do rather than speak, so that we don't have the recording going from one person to another unnecessarily. So I'm going to go to Roger because he's got his hand up.
Okay, Julie, firstly, I want to say that the sound is so bad, so low, that I understood nothing that Carey said. Nothing. Is there any way that you can increase the volume?
Well, the sound for me is absolutely fine. So is it something to do with your setting?
Well, I've put my volume up to maximum.
Right, and it was only Carrie talking that was difficult.
No, it's everybody. You now talking is not easy to understand, but Carey, for some reason, I couldn't understand anything.
Right, everybody else, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Rog, have you got a microphone plugged in? That sometimes happens if you've got.
No, I don't have a microphone, no.
Oh, so you just heard me okay, though?
Well, I heard you, I could understand what you said. But it was still very, very low volume.
Yeah, and it's sort of as Rachel was speaking then, it did sort of dissipate slightly for me, but I could hear what she was saying. I do think it's your setting somehow, Roger, that, have you turned your volume right up, did you say?
Yeah, it's completely right up, yeah.
Right. Well, we can hear you fine, so I'll let you just do your talk now that you want to tell us about, and then we'll go to Rachel.
Okay, well, as long as everybody else can hear, that's okay. I'm okay. So I'll get on with my controversial statements. So firstly, I want to say that many courts are operating in fraud. Maybe all of them are, but I don't know. I only know about the ones that I have personal knowledge of. And I have first-hand experience that magistrates' courts do not follow the Constitution of England, which gives us the right to have a trial by a jury of our peers. Both Rachel and I have got experience of that. And anyway, I recommend that you watch the video via the link that I've posted in the chat, featuring Blue Boar of England exposing the extreme treason of the UK corporation. Because the government of this country, or should I say this institution, is a corporation. It's not a public body. It's not there to benefit the people. It's there to benefit the shareholders of that corporation. So what are we to do when the people learn of the treason and tyranny? What will they do? We don't want a violent insurgency, and that's not what I'm encouraging. Exactly the opposite. Too many people would die. But how can we use law when the courts are corrupt? We have to use lawful means to remedy this situation. And I'll just tell you what I've done already. I've made an oath, which I know it's a little bit long-winded, but I think it's valuable enough to read out and let people listen to. Is that okay, moderator? Can I go ahead? Julie?
Yes, I'd put my thumb up, but yes,
Okay.
please do.
So here we go. Firstly, I want to state that the Bill of Rights 1689 is still valid in the now, and so is the Magna Carta 1215. Those two instruments actually are the integral part of our constitution. They constitute, in fact, our constitution. So here is the oath that I've made. I, Roger, well, I'll say it in its full, colon, Roger hyphen James colon, and you notice I don't say Roger Manners, do sincerely promise and swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to their Majesties King William and Queen Mary, now deceased, until a new monarch is elected by the people, so help me God. So here we go. Colon, Roger hyphen James colon, do swear that I do from my heart abhor, detest, and abjure as impious and heretical this damnable doctrine and position that princes excommunicated or deprived by the Pope or any authority of the See of Rome may be deposed or murdered by their subjects or any other whatsoever. And I do declare that no foreign prince, person, prelate, state or potentate, this means the foreign bar, association and others, hath or ought to have any jurisdiction, power, superiority, preeminence or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual, within this realm, so help me God. Charles Saxe-Coburg in 2023 and Elizabeth Saxe-Coburg in 1953, and the Lords Spiritual, Lords Temporal, and the Commons have failed to take, administer, and obtain a lawful oath as follows, and are pretender King and Queen with no allegiance to the people, as does not any government since 1953, where all enactments are void, and as such are foreign prince and princes the lawful, this is the lawful constitution oath, Coronation Oath Act 1688. So that's the oath that I've made, and I now put a notice on my door which reads like this: I, colon, Roger hyphen James colon, am not a franchised / subsidiary employee of the United Kingdom Corporation or its rules, known as legislation, in no way apply to colon, Roger hyphen James colon, unless you personally make claim I have done you harm with first-hand knowledge of your claim as a suitable Junist man or woman. Okay, so that goes on my door. And that goes on my door in case police come to my door, so that they will know what my legal position is. I am not under, I've removed myself. I'm completely now free of legislation of the UK corporation. They cannot touch me, and neither can its agents, the police, which is all, the police are also a corporation. They're not a public body, they're a corporation. People must understand this. So that's the important thing that I want to say. And I think that's the only way that we can get away from the tyranny that we're undergoing right now. And it is tyranny, make no mistake about it. And it'll get worse, because they're now trying to introduce digital IDs and also what is it? CBC, central bank digital currency. And once that's done, we're all completely lost our freedom if they can do that. They can only do that under legislation. That's why we've got to ensure that we are not bound by their legislation, because the police, the army, all the authorities are being brainwashed to think that legislation is law, and it is not. It is definitely not law. Legislation is basically a decree of an authoritarian government. This government is in place under fraud. Okay, so I've said everything that I wanted to say. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Roger. And I do know someone local that's self-employed was saying that he's being restricted in ridiculous ways of if he's paid in cash and things like that, and digital ID stuff that he's having to do. And yeah, it is wrong what is happening, and it's taking away our freedoms, and yet they're busy on all their expenses and the salaries that they're paid, and that we have not agreed to, and it should not be happening. Right, I'm going to go to Rachel now.
Hey, Julie. Yeah, I'm just out walking Kobe, listening, and obviously we had a discussion before we went live with the recording, so just picking up on what was discussed before and also what Roger's just said. I totally agree that it's like the walls are closing in, and digital ID is like the next, as we know, the next piece in the jigsaw as they try to get totalitarian command control. I mean, it basically is communism that we're headed into. And over here, the interesting thing for me is, because I'm doing a temporary house sit assignment, every few weeks I get a bundle of post from my address in Derby, and I cannot tell you the nature of this load once every few weeks. And I just was reflecting, it's all so designed to completely depress us and lower our vibration, and it's all from these official authorities who, it's all completely heartless and soulless, without any care for the trauma and pain and suffering that it causes. I mean, I'm totally aware of the system, so it doesn't really perturb me, but I can imagine millions of these diktats are going out to people all over the country every single day, and they're all designed to create contraction, fear, more worry, more pain, more suffering. And so we have to put an end to this. And I actually believe that, I believe, this is my belief, that the tyrannical powers that shouldn't be, which we all know are bankrolled by the big corporations, the shadowy big corporations, I think that their push for digital ID will be their downfall, because I sense the growing movement of uprising about, what's going on. Sorry, I'm having to negotiate some dogs here. Hi, hello. Yeah, so I'm basically challenging everything, and one thing that actually came through was another summons to magistrates court. Roger will be pleased to know, not pleased to know, but he'll smile when I say this. But the interesting thing is that it's for July 2026. Now, what that tells me is that the courts are massively backlogged. So this is in relation to another alleged speeding incident. I think it was in January 2025. So you're talking about 18 months for something to get to court, really. So it must be there must be a lot of people now questioning and standing up and saying, no, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to stand my ground. And anyhow, Yes, so in answer to all of this, to me there are two key solutions. Let's focus on solutions. Try and cross the road here. Kobe, he's a very strong dog and he's very strong-willed about pulling me in directions that he wants to go rather than going where I want to go. Come on. But there are two, to my mind, two key solutions. The first one is peaceful mass non-compliance. We absolutely now have to say no and peacefully stand up and refuse to comply to all of this, whether it's police, speeding diktats, Companies House diktats that we must have digital ID, every single diktat. So that's number one thing, and I do sense there is a whole wave of people already on that page who are up for that. Second thing is to keep on raising the consciousness and the vibration. So, hold on, truck going by. And that is another thing that I sense, that there are so many people awakening now, so many people doing high vibrational, spiritual work, that we're literally flooding this labyrinth with light. And in essence, what we're dealing with is Wetiko. It's lower dimensional, heavy, lower frequency, you might call it satanic energy, and that Wetiko satanic energy just cannot survive in the light. So it's really crucial that we keep on all forms of high vibration, ceremony, prayer, meditation, anything done in groups, like especially in powerful places like stone circles, like drumming. It might sound like it's not doing anything, but actually it's very powerful, because what it's doing is flooding this false labyrinth, the false matrix. It's flooding the labyrinth with light. And that's why I believe, so I'm going uphill, that's why I believe they're having to up the ante on all of this pain and fear and suffering, because they can't survive if people are in a place of joy. And so that's my two penneth on the situation. But I do believe that this is the last stand, the digital ID, and I think it will be their downfall. That's my hunch. So that's me, that's my contribution. Lots of love, liberation, opportunity, vitality, empowerment.
Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And it's interesting because the person that was commenting to me about digital ID and self-employedness, when he first met me, because I was a mayor candidate in Mansfield, he actually didn't want to talk to me because he doesn't do politics. But now he even realises that I am what a proper politician should be, because I'm in there for the people, whereas I am not one of those mainstream type politics. I really care about people, and that is why we've got the love movement. Right, so I'm going to go to Conrad now, because he's got his hand up.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I have a question, but first of all, I want to say, Roger, well done. You are actually on a similar track to myself. I also think that your wordage is quite amazing, but I have always looked for simpler ways, and I am working with what is known as common sense. Common sense, basically, if you go back, I'm a great fan of Sir Edward Coke, who was alive between 1552 and 1645, I think. And he pointed out that the law, the common law, is nothing but reason. It is just common sense. And I feel that if we do all this fancy work, which Roger did so beautifully, I don't know that it's going to do a lot of good, but it probably could. I wanted to go to a simpler explanation, a simpler way of doing it. And my question is that if I say to anyone in authority, hey, I'm actually not part of your system, full stop. Of course, there are going to be lots of comeback from such a statement. And I'm curious to know what other people think of that. I'm just not part of the system. I am choosing not to be part of the system. I am actually a free man. And why get complex with it? Why not just say, I'm out of here. I'm not part of your system. What do people think would be the reply to that from somebody in authority?
Right, so I'm going to give my bit of a response. If anyone else would like to say anything, please do put your hand up, and remember that only the person. Right, Carrie, I'll ask you next then. I was listening to something recently, Conrad, that someone had been arrested. I think it was in Doncaster, which actually is part of Scotland, would you believe? And then he was taken back up to Scotland and put in, he's been to 4 or 5 different prisons. And he is trying to not be part of that system. Even when they've tried walking him somewhere, he refused to walk. He's doing it in a peaceful way, but they actually wrecked his feet by dragging him deliberately. So even though he has tried not to be part of the system, they ended up arresting him and taking him to various different prisons, taking him all the way up to I'll say real Scotland, if we call it real Scotland, and then he'd been in 4 or 5 different prisons. I can't remember his name at the moment, but and he seems like a very gentle soul, but then they're not being kind to him. And this is unfortunately what can happen. And I do believe we've all got our own different life journey and different life path. And what we need to do is go with our instincts of what feels right for each of us. And at the moment, as we're just having to keep in that place of love, not fear. Know that natural laws are the only ones that we really need. Do no harm, cause no injury, cause no loss. And each situation is different. So in one situation, something might be harmful. In another situation, it might be exactly what's needed to be done. It's a bit like when you're driving a car. Occasionally, you definitely have to go over the speed limit to save somebody's life. And it might help you to miss, knocking them over or something. And through no fault of your own. But our system doesn't allow that, does it? And it's really seems very wrong what is happening in lots of different ways. But I'm so glad that different people are doing different things in their own different ways and sharing with us, and keep letting us know your own experiences of this. And even with what Roger's got, yes, he's got that in place. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. So yeah, and even this, if someone asks you your name and not responding to your name, so if they were to say to me, are you Julie Tasker? These days, hopefully, I won't be caught off guard, and I literally will not. I'll be more likely to say, what is it you're wanting to know? And even yesterday, I had a phone call from someone supposedly wanting to do something to help me to have my loft insulated and stuff like that. Completely out of the blue phone call. And this person sounded like sounded like a real person, but the way he kept responding to me, I'm like, he's responding to me like a robot. And I carried on talking to him about we should have free energy and stuff like that. And he kept coming back again. And then eventually, because I did stay on for quite a while, kept responding with my opinions, this Indian speaking male came on. And I said, oh, you're a real person then. Was that really a robot? And he confirmed it was. So even these phone calls that we're getting was a robot, a real robot. It's just crazy. And I mean, I thought it sounded like one, and I've had quite a few phone calls like that before. But now it is not. It is artificial intelligence. It is not intelligence and we are not using technology intelligently. So, Conrad, did you want to say anything more before I go to Carrie? Because Carrie had a manual hand up.
Not really, other than I could also add to that simple question is that, for your information, I do live under the real law, i.e. natural law or God's law, so that they are a little bit assuaged, or I don't know if that's the right word, to go, oh, okay, he is living under law. But this, of course, will be the question, and there are many, I believe, ripostes to my question from them, and this is what I'm looking for, is for what they might be, should I make such a statement. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I will come back to you once we've gone round people responding to your question. So I know I gave my little bit of input as well, which was quite a lot of input actually. So Carrie, I'm going to come to you now.
Thank you. And thank you, Roger and Conrad. I think, yes, you're absolutely right. The way to go is to be out of this system, not engage with it. And I know people who've been asked their name and they've responded with things like, I, woman, am not the person you want, because person is the fictional being. And you know, there were so many little ways around answering questions so you don't get caught up. And the second thing is, I am now a director of a dormant company on Companies House, and I and others I know of have been very much challenged by the law, but they've come in through the back door and they've done sort of half a job, which tells us that they can't do the full Monty because they can't actually get past that barrier, because we are in the jurisdiction of England and Wales, and they're operating in the United Kingdom, Great Britain. And also I wanted to mention CABI, Community Assembly of the British Isles. I think, yes, some of you are. And I've recently learnt that Mark Byford, the bowler-hatted farmer, has joined our ranks. He's, as you probably know, he's just done a 7-month tour of Great Britain and come back with lots of interesting information. And I went to my local farmers market recently and gave out CABI leaflets, and they said, oh yes, Mark Byford's been here and spoken to us, and they were absolutely falling over themselves to take the leaflets, which is a first. So what with the Anna Isabel has now moved to Cornwall, and so she's got Zoom meetings. We have monthly meetings locally, but she has Zoom meetings on education and on growing herbs and herbal remedies, and a farmers forum, and then they've got the Aurora Network, which is all the alternative therapists. So it's really taking off. It's really amazing, and I think this is the right time when it should be happening. And I want to end on a positive note, as always, by saying that we may feel that, you know, we're facing this great big brick wall and we're just trying to bring it down with gouging out the mortar with a knitting needle, and nothing seems to be happening, but trust me, it is. And that wall will come down, and you only have to look to Europe to see the changes where countries now want, you know, ban the burqa, no digital ID, sovereignty out of Europe. So the whole thing is gradually falling apart. So may it continue, and it will. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Carrie, for that. And we do need to keep positive, because that helps our own energy as well. And it's sort of facing the negative stuff that's happening, processing our stress, which I'm so glad that I'm a complementary therapist, because that definitely helps me with that. And also I'm carrying on doing A Course in Miracles, and that really helps me. Even though there's certain little bits even in that it's like flipping out. Yeah. But just keep on the positives as best you can. And the CABI, as you mentioned them, I was going to say later, they have a weekly meditation session on a Monday at 7 o'clock. And the meditation session that they do has got a recording that you can do your own meditation with it whenever you want to. I still connect as often as I can on a Monday at 7 o'clock for that half an hour. And we just literally are doing peaceful stuff for the world and sending those energy out there. There's also the astrologist Pam Gregory. She suggests I think it's 7 o'clock every day to do a love and peace for the whole world every single day, and just keep getting that energy out there. And the more, you might not realize, but even just thinking those positives is really helping the world, and that's what we need to do. So thank you for that. Now Roger's got his hand up, which I think he wanted to say something about Conrad's question, so I'm going to go to Roger now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, thank you.
Well, I just want to make everybody aware that the the name which is attached to you just shortly after birth, which is in capital letters, belongs to it's the Crown copyright. It doesn't belong to anybody. So that name in capital letters you're using in fraud. You should not be using it. And I'm recommending to everybody, and this is not legal advice, you know, it's just my opinion. I'm recommending to everybody that any mail which comes to you in block capital, your name in block capitals, you should return that to the place from where it came. The address of the sender should be on the envelope, on the back of the envelope, well, not actually on the back, but somewhere on the envelope anyway. But there are some times where the contents of such envelopes are beneficial, and you'll know that. You can find out where this mail comes from by putting the postcode in Google. For example, I get letters from Belfast, which is the DWP, and those letters I really do want to. I want to know. I want to know what's in them, so I do open those. But it's only because I know from where they come. If I believe that the letters are from my adversaries, I don't open them. I send them back. So I just want.
So
people
Roger,
to know.
you know, when you send it back, do you put anything on the envelope other than return to sender, or what do you put?
Well, I would just write on the envelope, addressee named, not at this address.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Then,
Because
Roger.
that's true. That is correct information. That person is not you. It definitely is not you. Your name in capital letters is a legal fiction, just in the same way that the UK corporation is a legal fiction,
Yeah.
and the police service is a legal fiction. We're all being fooled by these legal fictions, including our own names written in capital letters.
And this is where even things like at the birth, when they're cutting the umbilical cord and doing stuff with the placenta, that they should not be doing this, and we should allow that. The whole birthing process could be a lot more natural than they're being allowed to be. But I mean, so is even contraception and stuff like that. But we could be here for days actually talking about all the different things that are wrong. So anyone else want to respond to Conrad at all? Yes, I think Rebecca.
Come on, everybody.
Yeah, Rebecca's going to now.
Yeah, just asking about the thing about stating that I'm a man or a woman or something. I heard, this is stuff I'm still trying to learn a lot about, but I did go and see Graham Moore speak, and he said that actually in a law court, you don't say that. I would have to remember what he did say. But, you know, Graham Moore of the Constitutional Party, he said not to use that. But anyway, I suppose that leads it to my sort of next just comment, really. I mean, both Roger and Conrad have suggested approaches, and we could almost do with an armory of different things that might work in different situations. So while, you know, in a sense, Conrad, what you say, it should be respected, but so often it won't be. And whether you need that next level, for instance, that Roger's suggesting, in order to reinforce what you're saying. Because I always remember this picture in one of these Indiana Jones's films, when you've got Harrison Ford and a chap, they're fighting with swords, and eventually Harrison Ford gets fed up with it and he just pulls a gun out and shoots him. So, you know, obviously we don't even have swords, you know, we're lucky if we've got a wooden spoon to defend ourselves or a can of deep heat. But anyway, that's by the by. So while there's a lot of this, or these precedents which should be honoured and respected, as you were saying, I think, Julian and Rachel, especially about how corrupt the court system is and how corrupt everything is. And in the end, they could just use plain violence to just overcome you. So, I mean, to have as many approaches, you know, as possible to be able to do this would be quite good. And it's something I'm only kind of coming up against to try and understand. But I mean, just before anything else though, Roger, I mean, did you say that you've got what you just said? Is it on the actual Telegram site? Is there a post that has the details of what you've just said that, you know, we could refer to again, that you've just read out?
No, it's not on the Telegram site. I could put it on there. You mean everything that I've said?
Well, when you opened, really, when you were reading your statement that you would give or that you would post on your front door or in the window or something like that, that sounded also quite a useful thing to have. I mean, I know people that have a particular wording of a post.
Yeah, but you can't put those things, you can't put that notice on your door or your window unless you've made the oath to the imperial sovereign crown.
Which is William and Mary, going back to the oath you were talking
about.
Well,
I was guided into doing that by somebody at a meeting that I went to in Ferrybridge. It's a little bit difficult to explain on this meeting, but it's something that you can find out about, and maybe the best thing to do is to send me an email, and I'll give you whatever information I can do. Okay. I can't give you the full information because I don't know it. But
is this something that Graham Moore would know about as well?
Pardon?
Would Graham Moore also be a good source for this? I don't know if you know much about him, but
I know very much about him.
Right.
I invited him.
You probably would.
to come and be a speaker at my Rachel and my event on the 16th of February, and he declined that. Why he did that, I have no idea.
Right. Okay. I mean, the thing is, we're still trying to latch on to common law and the rest of it, but I'm not sure if I can make myself understood on this. But I did see a little recording with, is it Claire Wills Harrison or Claire Harrison Wills, who runs the Lawyers of Light. And she's been very instrumental, I think, in that website of mass non-compliance. But in the end, even having all the common law and all the Bill of Rights and everything, it's still, even those are rules and regulations. And going back to being in the natural law is actually where we really should be, where, you know, we're brought up to respect other people so that we shouldn't really be bound by, I suppose, any other law than the natural law. But I think that's what Claire was trying to say. Having said that, being in the real world, and if other people don't recognise that, it's quite difficult to kind of live by those principles. But I don't know if anyone else saw her. She gave a little speech on her Telegram channel about this. But anyway, I digress a little bit really on that. Another question I had was, I thought there was a difference between an officer and a constable, that one had pledged a troth to the corporation and one hadn't. So is that, but then if you're referring back to William and Mary, maybe by, just excuse me a minute, sorry. I think someone's at the door.
Well, I think if you write to John Gilbert of the community assemblies of the British Isles, he'll tell you the difference between a constable and an officer. In fact, he has a training program for peacekeepers, and so he knows more about that kind of thing than I do.
Okay.
But there is a difference. There's a difference between a constable and a police officer. There definitely is. And I think it's to do with police officers swear an affirmation, which is nowhere near as powerful as an oath.
Yeah. Having said that, the doctors also were supposedly swore to an oath, the Hippocratic Oath, and they seem to have ridden roughshod over it, haven't they? But anyway, again, I'm digressing.
Thank you, Rebecca. Is that all you need to say at the moment? Now, I know Carrie wants to say something, but Rachel's got her hand up first. So I'll come to Carrie after Rachel. Yeah, hello, Rachel. Yep, you're unmuted now.
Hey, Julie, I'm happy
You're not coming through very easily.
because I've just walked in and I'm just taking my shoe. So can you?
Oh, go to Carrie first. Okay, right, Carrie. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Rebecca. There's a very good book here, The Constitution of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, Acts of Union, and all the other stuff. If you want to take a note of that, if you can see it. I don't know. Can you see it all right? I'm not very good at this. Is that clear?
Is there a particular author, or is it?
I was just looking for that, but I couldn't
would
actually
help.
see.
Could you type it into the chat?
I'll try. Yes, I'll try.
Is there an ISBN number?
There should be. Yes, there is. Should I put that in?
Please.
Yeah,
You want to just say it out
very
loud
long
now
one.
as well?
Okay.
Oh, right.
That's fine. Yes, because I've got a sort of revised version here to remind myself, which is just Petition of Rights, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Rights, Magna Carta, etc., which is extremely useful to know.
Yeah, and the Coronation Oath Act.
Yes, I think that might be in here. If not, you can Google it. And I would advise people to have as much info on this as possible because it's very, very useful.
So
Yeah, if you can put details in the chat, then I can write it down.
Where's the, I don't know where the chat thing is. Oh yeah, here. Okay.
Yeah. But also, Carrie, if you could put it on the Telegram group as well at some point, and you could perhaps do a screenshot of it.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got the Telegram group anymore. I think that something happened to that. So
right,
but
the chat is down on the bottom when you move your cursor thing, and it's the fourth one along for me, but it might be different.
I've just got onto it. Yeah, so I've got to work out how to. Yeah, okay. I'll sort that out. Then if somebody else wants to say something, obviously I'll go. But okay. I just wanted to get that information out.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to go to Rachel now, which if she's settled, otherwise Roger wants to talk.
Hey, Julie. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Because I just had to switch into Wi-Fi. Yeah. Can you hear me
There
okay?
you know, yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, yeah, this thing about how to, having these theories and then how to implement it practically and to get people to listen and to get courts to listen. And I think we just have to be really aware of this kind of end game, which, I mean, I don't want to cast doom and gloom, but having been in the world of AI, and you mentioned it earlier about all this AI stuff, I think we have to realize, we have to be aware that this whole digital ID facial recognition thing will end up with robotic policing. And we're then in a totally different scenario, because you'll notice if any of the recent incidents where, suspects were shot dead by police on the scene or something. So no chance for a jury or a fair trial. Someone decided you're guilty. So this idea of innocent until proven guilty is starting to be sidelined out of the picture. And it's a very dangerous situation that we're in, because we know that these are psychopaths, that all these Fabian Society psychopaths. I was listening to Andrew Bridgen talking about digital ID and Mike Yeadon, and it's like the people behind this, their end game is depopulation. They think there's too many useless eaters on the planet, so they need to get to a situation of sort of martial law where they can sort of shoot first and answer questions later, kind of thing. So we need to navigate this. We're getting into a very advanced stage in the spiritual game, let's put it like this. So we need to be firstly conscious awareness of what is unfolding and the levels of Wetiko and satanic psychopaths that we're dealing with, but also realizing that this is a spiritual game. And our weapons are not guns. Our weapons are truth and resonance and sound, and it's like that's what's going to, and love and light and laughter, and that's what's going to bring the walls of Jericho down. So us coming together with like-minded, high vibration people and mass peaceful non-compliance, and speaking to and I think this is really what Conrad is speaking to, this idea of common sense, speaking to the heart and soul of the individual rather than reacting to their costume or their title. And so this thing about the difference between a police officer and a police constable is someone who has sworn an oath of allegiance to protect the people and their property. So when I went to court about my speeding and they presented some policeman in the dock, and I was allowed to cross-examine him, I was invited to cross-examine him. So my first question was, have I caused you harm, injury or loss? And then the judge says, you're not allowed to ask that question. That's not relevant. I said, well, I think it is, because I have the right to face my accuser. And I'm asking, have I caused you harm, injury or loss? Because you're accusing me of being guilty of something. And then I asked him, have you sworn the police oath? He said, oh, no, I'm not a policeman. I'm just an admin person. So it's just, the whole thing is a complete pantomime charade. It's totally ridiculous. So you basically got an admin person holding a speed gun, saying and presenting a static picture to the court saying this person is guilty of speeding. And yet when I say, well, who is the victim and have I caused anyone harm, injury or loss? No one can answer. So the whole thing is a complete farce and a charade. And I do believe that the whole thing is unraveling. But it's just the more of us that go in and shine a light and ask these awkward questions, the more people wake up, including the judges and the barristers. They all know it's a game. They're all wearing their silly costumes and their silly wigs. You know, this is in this silly room, like pretending to be powerful, and in truth they have no power. In truth, they have no power. It's all an illusion. It's all a game. Anyway, so there's lots at the moment, but I think just keeping in that vertical alignment and shining our light, speaking truth, and not being afraid to go in to these Masonic cubes and pattern interrupt the pantomime and just basically point out that they're just like the Wizard of Oz, you know, behind the curtain, and he's just pulling these levers, and in truth has no power, you know. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. And also just a reminder that if people are in court and they're not answering to their name, don't be tricked into it just before you're leaving the court, because I've heard of that happening before. And you don't go and sit where they tell you to, you go and sit your own choice and things like that. I know Carrie had a hand up as well. I'm very mindful it is 1 o'clock and I do need to go fairly promptly. So Roger's got his hand up. I'm going to quickly come to you first, Roger.
Okay, well, Julia, Rebecca voiced some concern about the name that you actually present yourself with when you go to court. If you present your your real name, which doesn't include your surname, then you will not be recognized. You have to go there as a representative of the legal fiction name, the capital letter name. If you don't do that, the judge or the magistrates, they won't even see you or hear you. They will pretend to be blind and deaf. So don't even try to go there under your real name. I mean, my real name is :Roger-James : that's my real name. If I went and presented myself under that name, I would not even be seen or heard. So I just wanted to make that point. And I want to ask Carrie, I looked in the chat and I see that you've put the ISBN number, and the last number that I've seen is digit is a 0 in white, where all the others are, I think, in a different color. I'm colorblind, but I think it's blue. So is that correct? I'll just repeat that ISBN number and tell me if this is correct. 978 177 426 1200. Is that correct?
That's what she's written, and she's put a thumb up as well. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll try.
Well, I'm very grateful for Carrie getting that book, and I will buy it myself. Thank you, Carrie. Or was it Carrie?
Okay, thank you, Roger. Right, I'm just mindful of the time because I do have to go fairly promptly. So Carrie, coming to you now.
Okay, very quickly. I was given to understand that the courts have no actual jurisdiction outside the City of London. I think that goes back to some very old rules and regulations, but I haven't pursued it any further, but it's just an interesting fact to know if it comes to it. And all I want to say is, you know, don't, let's keep visualizing our future that we want, and good thoughts, good things for everybody out there, and lots of understanding that they, the opposition, are addicted to loosh, and we can starve them. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, right, thank you. There was something else I was going to say. Yeah, my local Mansfield District Council have tried to announce that we got avian flu coming, and then they announced it and got it spread various places to create fear. And now they're saying, oh no, we made a mistake. So I do wonder what they're going to be doing fairly soon, trying to, you know, convince people of different things. Right, Rachel, I'm going to come to you now because you've got your hand up.
Sorry, Julie, that was by mistake.
Oh, by mistake, your hand was up. Right, okay. Roger, you've still got your hand up. Is there anything else you wanted to say before I finish the recording? And please, if you
Well,
can.
I just want to endorse what Rachel has written in the chat. A driving license, yes, it is a fiction. And in fact, you have to apply the four-corner rule, so that anything, you know, which is in a box with four corners, you can delete anyway. But what Rachel has stated is absolutely 100% correct. A driving license is a fiction. And the only problem is, if we don't have a driving license, we can't get insurance. That's the problem.
Right, thank you. Yeah, I've managed to use that ISBN number, and it's definitely come up with the correct book. Now, Roger, you mentioned your event with Rachel, and I thought you said it was February, but I've just looked in my diary, and it's this Saturday, the 16th of May.
Yes, May.
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused. I've got a lot of other things going on in February. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm glad I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that I'd got it in my diary, and it is in my diary now. So, yes, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you've corrected me on that, because I would have felt a bit daft going there on February the 16th and seeing nobody there.
Yeah. So Saturday, the 16th of May, 2026 is the event with Roger and Rachel and various speakers up in York. Okay, right. Anyone else need to say anything before we finish recording? But please do stay on so we can have a little bit of a chat briefly afterwards. And I'm going to say thank you everyone for watching. Thank you very much for everyone that has attended. And I will stop the recording now when I can find how to stop it. Wonderful technology.